My daughter came home on her wedding night covered in blood. Your daughter is being abused. At 3 meters, violent, hurried, knocking thundered at the door as if someone was ramming the reinforced steel with their entire body. I was lying on the couch. I had barely managed to doze off for a couple of hours when I was jolted awake. My heart was pounding out of control. Who could it be at this hour and knocking like that? Before I could even open my mouth to ask, a muffled, familiar, and painful sob came from outside. Mom, please open the door. It was my daughter Sarah's voice. I leaped up and ran barefoot to the door. My whole body was trembling as I looked through the peephole. The image I saw almost made me collapse right there. Sarah was standing on the landing, her hair a mess, her wedding dress no longer white, stained with streaks of dark red. On her face, 5 bruised finger marks were clearly imprinted. My hands were shaking so much that I fumbled with the key several times before I got it in the lock. The moment the door opened, Sarah collapsed onto me. Her body was ice cold, shaking uncontrollably, as if she had just stepped out of a freezing storm. Mom, they hit me. She barely finished the sentence before she fainted in my arms, becoming a dead weight. Sarah! Sarah! I screamed, holding her in a panic. As I touched her back, I felt a large wet patch. I pulled my hand away. I carried her to the sofa, moving clumsily, my mind a blank slate. Shaken, I picked up the phone to dial 911. Just then, Sarah gripped my hand tightly. Mom, don't call. Don't take me to the hospital. I leaned over her. What do you mean no? Look at you. How can you bear this? Her voice was weak, broken. They said, if I dare go to the hospital, they'll kill me. A lump formed in my throat. Husara squeezed her eyes shut and tears streamed down her face. My mother-in-law, Carol. Just hearing that name sent a chill down my spine. My daughter swallowed hard, her voice trembling as if she had a high fever. She slapped me 40 times. She demanded I sign over the $1.5 million condo to her or she'd beat me to death. Hearing this, my ears started ringing and the room spun. $1.5 million. It was the condo in Sarah's name, the only asset her father left her after our divorce 10 years ago. But wasn't today your wedding day? Sarah broke down, sobbing convulsively. Mom, I was wrong. I didn't listen to you. I thought you were just jealous because I was marrying a rich man. I didn't know I was walking into a lion's den. I held her tight. Sarah spoke slowly with interruptions, but every word was a knife twisting. His name was Jake, a tall, well-dressed man who drove a luxury car and walked into our home with a radiant smile. Oh, ma'am, you look so young. You could be Sarah's older sister. Sarah, beside him, smiled so happily, her eyes crinkled. See, Mom, Jake treats me so well. At the time, I just smiled politely, but inside I felt a vague unease. His gaze was too sharp, his smile too perfect. The second time Jake came over, he brought his mother, Carol, a woman dressed gaudily with a thick gold chain and heavy bracelets on. As soon as she entered, she scanned the house, not hiding her inquisitive curiosity. I heard your ex-husband is a big shot in real estate, that he left your daughter quite a nest egg, right? Her direct question froze me. I answered coldly, my ex-husband's finances have nothing to do with your family. She smiled, but her smile had no warmth. Honey, I'm just asking out of curiosity. If my son is marrying your daughter, I need to know what kind of world she comes from. Sarah quickly intervened, taking my hand. Mom, she was just asking. Don't be upset. In that instant, I looked at my daughter and she seemed like a stranger. Carol brazenly proposed a wedding gift of $200 from us. I refused immediately. I'm not selling my daughter. I won't accept that kind of pressure. But Sarah begged me in tears. Mom, Jake's family is very wealthy. $200 isn't that much to them. Please just accept it. I eventually gave in, lowering it to $100 on the condition that Sarah's condo would not be touched after the marriage. Carol smiled from ear to ear, repeating, Of course, of course. Whatever the bride's family says. Now looking back, I realize how obvious her greed was, but I wasn't clear-headed enough to see it. Sarah sobbed on my lap. Mom, tonight, after the reception, they took me to our suite. I thought my new life was beginning. Her voice broke. I squeezed her hand, sensing that what I was about to hear would be even more terrible than the wounds on her body. Sarah cried so hard she curled into a ball in my arms. I could feel her tremors transmitting to my chest as if her fear was devouring me. I moved closer, pressing my ear to hear every word. I thought we were finally alone. I even sat down to wait for him. Sarah took a deep breath, her tears falling on my blouse. But he left, saying he had something to do. I waited for almost half an hour. I closed my eyes, my heart aching. And then what, honey? I had barely finished the question when Sarah clutched my clothes, her voice shattered. My mother-in-law burst into the room, and behind her were Jake's aunt and other women, 7 or 8 of them in total. A chill ran down my spine. Before I could understand what was happening, Carol grabbed me by the hair and slammed me onto the bed. I couldn't help it, my hands started to shake. She asked me when I was going to sign the $1.5 million condo over to her. Sarah shook her head as she spoke. I told her it was an asset my parents left me, that I couldn't transfer it. As soon as I said that, she slapped me. My daughter choked, unable to breathe. 1, then 2, and on and on. I counted up to 40 slaps. I felt like someone was squeezing my heart. Every time she hit me, the other women would count out loud and laugh. Sarah's voice had become a thread. They said, "A disobedient bride needs to be taught a lesson." I clenched my teeth so hard I drew blood. And Jake, where was he? Sarah was silent for a long time. Her hot tears fell on my hand. He was outside the door. That simple sentence was the deepest stab. I heard him tell his mother, "Mom, don't hit her in the face. It'll leave marks. And she'll look ugly." I couldn't contain a choked sob. Oh my God. Sarah wept. After that, they didn't hit my face anymore. They used coat hangers, slippers. They beat me on my back, my arms. My daughter was trembling uncontrollably. I begged them. I told them I really couldn't transfer the condo, that it was my mother's and father's whole life. I covered my mouth with my hand, crying uncontrollably. She said if I didn't agree, she would rip my clothes off and throw me into the street for the whole neighborhood to see, saying I was a gold-digging scammer. I didn't dare look for long. "And how did you escape?" Sarah was breathing with difficulty. One of them said it would be bad luck to kill someone on their wedding night, and only then did she stop. My daughter managed a bitter smile. She warned me I had 3 days. Only 3 days. If I didn't transfer the condo, she'd let Jake educate me again. I clenched my fists. I was so scared. I secretly put my wedding dress back on and ran. I didn't dare go back to their house. Sarah buried her head in my chest, crying her heart out. "Mom, I'm scared." I held her with all my strength. In that moment, my own image from 10 years ago came to mind. Also oppressed by my mother Renard, also choosing to endure, also telling myself it would all pass. But in the end, the more I endured, the more they cornered me. I stroked my daughter's hair and said in a firm voice, "Sarah, listen to me. This cannot be tolerated." She flinched. "But if I report it to the police, they'll just say I fell. Their family has lawyers." I looked her straight in the eye. "You're scared. I get it. But if you stay silent, they will not stop." I stood up and got a clean towel to dry her face. "Tonight, you stay here. No one will ever touch you again." Sarah looked at me, her eyes filled with confusion. "What are you going to do, Mom?" I took a deep breath. In my mind, there was only one person, the man who once hurt me, but also the only one capable of protecting our daughter right now. I picked up the phone to call her father. Sarah's eyes widened. "Mom, Dad hasn't contacted us in 10 years. I remained calm. "But you are his daughter." I dialed his number. My hand trembled slightly, but my voice, when the call connected, was strangely serene. On the other end, they picked up, "Hello," a familiar, raspy voice.